This is the Not So Sober podcast.
Welcome back into another episode of the Not So Sober podcast. Got another fire guest with us today. Born and raised here in Omaha, Nebraska. Let's welcome in AA Monet.
Hello, everyone.
How you doing? How you doing? Thank you for joining us today. TZ done told me a whole lot about you. Obviously, we've been sitting here talking a little bit, getting to know you a little better. And from the sounds of it, you got your foot in that damn poetry.
No place I'd rather be. Yeah, yes, it's everything for me.
That shit's fire. I done heard some shit. Heard you working on some things or whatever. But before we get there, we're going to start off with kind of where you at now in life. Obviously, we was talking, you just moved to Nevada, right?
Yes.
What influenced that?
Honestly, I lived in Maryland for 4 years, born and raised in Omaha. Lived in Maryland for 4 years. Came back here for 2 years to publish my poetry book.
Okay.
And that's when COVID hit. So I'm like, let me be around family and loved ones. My job went fully remote, based in D.C. They're like, we don't care where you work as long as you work. So I'm like, let's go back home then. And then I'm like, I really want to do the West Coast. California, way too expensive. And Arizona, way too hot. So I'm like, okay, so where? And then I have one best friend that lives in Nevada too. And she's the best friend to have in a state that you're going to by yourself. So, yeah.
Okay. That's what's up. Yeah,
I didn't even know that was why.
Hey, you learn something new every day.
Something new every day.
For real. So you said Maryland. Why'd you move to Maryland?
So I started at Creighton University, my undergrad, and then I finished my last 2 years at the University of Maryland.
Okay.
So I crossed my sorority, and I stayed there a couple years after. And then when COVID hit, it did not feel like home, mostly because everyone went inside.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, y'all taking it way more seriously than they are in Omaha. In Omaha, literally, I feel like
we was all still in the street.
I'm like, okay, no masks either. I'm like, so no one cares. So it just didn't feel like home anymore, which was fine because I was there for 4 years, but I missed home.
Yeah, sometimes things get played out. So it's,
sure.
when you overstay, you're welcome,
Yes.
So that's what's up, though. So when you came back here into Omaha, how deep were you into poetry, and what got you into poetry?
I'll start with the latter. I went to Roncalli Catholic High School, and an English class in high school, we did Shakespeare, like a poetry segment, and I was the only person in the class that understood Shakespeare. I'm like, he's really just kind of saying, and so I leaned into that because I didn't like English at first because I felt like it was super subjective, like it's just up to the teacher to give me an A, like be for real, I'm like, what do you mean?
For real.
Yeah, so I didn't like that, and then I liked that math always there was a correct answer. So I was very anti-English for a long time until we had that poetry section, and I just was leaning into that. I'm like, okay, so maybe I'm kind of good at this. I like that there's a deeper meaning to what the poet is trying to say. So that definitely sparked it for me, and I was like, okay, so I already like to journal, so let's try and put a little rhyme to it. Let's try, like, have fun with it. And I've used it as an outlet ever since. But when I moved back, I was still writing and finishing my book, and I published it in 2021. And I always like to say for my book, I wrote myself out of darkness because I was going through a heartbreak in a relationship for 6 years. And I'm like, I don't know myself at the end of this.
Yeah.
I was 17 years old when we first started dating. And so I'm like, I don't even know what's left. And so I had to remind myself, and that's why my book is titled Lost and Found, because I was like lost at the beginning of it, and I found myself through my poetry. So I had my book launch in September of 2021, and then I took the rest of the year off. I was mentally drained, like, all right, I got it out there, like, got past imposter syndrome, like, give me a break. And then 2022, Pull Up and Vibe and things like that, where it was huge for me to actually start marketing, because when you self-publish, you have to market.
Yeah, for sure.
So I'm like, okay, I got to get out there. I did all this work, and now I'm just keeping it to myself kind of thing. I'm like, all right. So I was really into the open mics, and I found it really comforting that I could just read from my book. Like, a lot of people recite their poetry, and I'm like, oh, let me just, bury my head into my pages.
To get you comfortable with it and everything. That's what's up.
So I've been doing open mics and things like that since. Yeah.
Okay.
Dope.
You got anything coming up that you working on, or?
am in the process of a second book. I have no idea when the release date of that is going to be because
Hey,
I'm
and
like,
that's okay. You know, it's
Hey.
a work in progress.
Y'all
you
got
know?
the exclusive.
right.
Y'all
Yes,
getting the
for
exclusive
sure.
from us?
For sure, 100%. Because I'm like, whoo. I just hold myself now. I have to up myself, kind of thing, from what I did with my first one, and I'm like, how do you do that? So that's gonna take some time for me to feel like it's truly ready, and I'm continuing to write and things like that. But different from this book, I've seen the growth of my writing for sure. I like do sensual poetry now, and it doesn't always have to be about love and heartbreak now. I have some
Yeah.
happiness. I'm so impressed with how far I've come. So definitely the second book to showcase how much I've grown. And then just other opportunities like expanding my services and my products for my brand. And, the goal is to work for myself.
Hey, and that's what everybody's goal should be. I try to
Yes.
tell everybody, the government that we all work for is designed to work for yourself. There's a reason there's so many tax breaks and all of this stuff if you have your own business and everything. We are not designed to work for the white man our whole life. We are not.
Yeah.
That's what I like. The whole government, everything is set up that way. So that's what's up. What brand are you trying to like? What's that?
So Monet is the brand.
Okay.
I offer products and services. It's a full service literary agency. So the products I offer, like my poetry book, T-shirts, magnets, coaster sets, Polaroid poems, the works over there, and that'll continue to expand. But then the services I've been really honing in more so recently. So consultation services, I just recently announced that, pinpointing your passion, consultation services. So that one's really near and dear to my heart, to get people to where I'm at. Like I'm walking in my purpose, and I know that for a fact. And so if I can just have a conversation with you and help you get there,
Yeah.
I mean, let's do it. Let's talk about it. So that's my newly launched one, but I have policy and procedure writing services, content, creation services, editing and review. And then what really started my services was allowing people to self-publish their book through my help, since I've done it.
Okay.
Helping others do that as well.
Is that I guess it's up to you if you want to drop the knowledge on them. What all goes into publishing your own book?
Honestly, if you publish through Amazon KDP, which stands for Kindle Direct Publishing, they have a walkthrough of everything.
Okay.
So if you want to publish through Amazon, you just have to read, honestly, because they will tell you step by step.
And
but
if
it's
you
probably,
write in a damn book, you better
Exactly.
be
You
able
better
to
be
read.
reading.
Yeah, right.
Just saying.
Honestly, you feel so burnt out from putting in for your own though. So it's just
Yeah.
like I think I needed this, and I had it in my poetry mentor.
Right.
We met it in Roncalli, and she's been my
Okay.
poetry mentor ever since. I think she's had 4 books out right now. And thankfully I had her. And so I'm like, I would want someone else to be able to have, her as well, like, and me. So,
Right.
but yeah, if you're publishing through Amazon KDP, it's all there, but sometimes you don't have the time to, sift through that. And you just want to get to the point. You've already put in
Right.
all of this work. I want to get it out there now.
Yep.
So yeah, it's really that, me already knowing, sorry, I'm tapping
No,
stuff. Me already knowing what goes into it so I can expedite the process.
Yeah.
And then I help them from draft to upload. So up until they get the proof copy in their hands, I'm there to help them through every step of the way. So
That's pretty
yeah,
dope.
it's really
Yeah,
important.
that's dope as hell. My girl in the process of trying to do that. She got into reading probably in the past 6 months or whatever. She been reading like crazy, and she started writing her own little books or whatever.
Good. That's good.
I don't know what's going on with it. I don't know if whatever she started and then she stopped for 3 months, and then she'll probably start it back up or whatever.
it's a
But
process.
again, though, you got to get the vision, and like I know, sure as you going through the process of everything is in something like that, you got to motivate yourself.
Yes.
Like there's nobody telling you, it's not a job. No, your supervisor ain't standing over you telling
Right.
you to do something.
100%.
And then on top of it, you got to use your own brain to put on the paper. Like it ain't, yeah.
Well, I would suggest to her timelines and deadlines because it is you. It's just
Right.
like having like a remote, which is now common, but like a remote class in college where it was like all the I can choose to go or not. And so you have to hold yourself accountable. But I found like deadlines really help. And with me specifically, my deadlines always included someone else. So
Okay.
now, because how my pride and ego works, if someone else is relying on me, now I have to get it done.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, I have 2 months to send this over to TZ to review. now I'm not gonna waste TZ's time. So now for
Right.
sure I'm gonna get it done. You know what I mean? So like having someone else a part of that deadline, like okay, I'm gonna send it in a month to my mom, or like I take that very seriously. Having someone else, so kind of knowing yourself to know like what's gonna actually keep me honest and
Right,
accountable. I think that helps.
Okay,
So-
okay. So now between Omaha, Maryland, Nevada, everything, what do you say will probably have the best support or the best community to be able to put yourself into for this kind of work?
If I didn't have my exposure in Omaha, I would not be able to fly anywhere else. 100%. I have not known, like, even with hopping on your album and things like that, like, I would have not have been so comfortable with saying yes.
Right.
And so Omaha was the perfect foundation for me to be able to go to any state now.
Okay.
But what I really have seen in my short time in Nevada is that they are so supportive of each other.
Okay,
Like, I'm
okay.
like, there's no, like, gatekeeping or anything
Right,
like that.
right,
They're like,
right.
okay, so we have this coming up. You wanna be on the vendor? You wanna be? And I'm just like, it's just welcoming, and I'm like, that is, I feel like almost hard to find, or you would assume
Right,
it would
right,
be.
right.
But I live in Summerlin, Nevada, but I mean, just all of kind of like the Las Vegas area, they're just open arms the entire time.
Damn, that's
And I'm
surprising.
like-
I,
I'm like,
I would have
thank you.
never thought, Vegas out of everywhere would have.
That's
That's
really nice.
Yeah, and that's why I kind of asked that question was because Vegas, almost all of Nevada, not all of it, but especially in that region of Vegas is all a lot touristy and everything.
Yes.
So I was kind of wondering
They're
how
very
that would go
transient.
with.
Yes. No, I mean, it's kind of like once you find the end,
Right.
they're all like, I'm following you, I'm supporting you. Do you know
Okay.
that? You just kind of like have to find like one or two,
Right,
and then
right.
you're in automatically. Like, I think I follow like 10 poets after only being there for 2 months. Like,
Damn.
and they're really, influential in Las Vegas for their poetry. And so I'm like, this is just so welcoming, but also it's interesting that I've developed imposter syndrome from it, because it's not necessarily that it's oversaturated, because wow, we need it. But in Omaha, I feel like it was a little bit more rare. Like, I feel like I
Yeah,
could
for
count
sure.
on,
right, for
on
sure.
my hands how many poets there were. And so now I'm like, okay, I got to step it up. I have to, memorize my poetry, and I have to, I want to elevate my poetry approach, because I see everyone around me doing it, which is really motivating.
Okay.
But yeah.
Is there like so besides like your book, is there like how for like music you got concerts and everything? Is there like what all?
Can you do?
Yeah. Like how do you put yourself out there in the
Right.
poetry field?
For sure.
Let me put it that way.
Yeah, I know the one that I enjoy the most, at least, is vendor events. So I just did one for Little Bohemia Spring Market off like South 13th Street, kind of by like Tiny Bar and things like that, because my book is inside of Dusk Goods and Gifts, which is one of the shops on that street.
Okay.
But then I just love finding the vendor events. That's really huge to kind of like people, it's just like a trademark, and when you see it more often, that's when you remember it. And so you have to physically put your book out there,
Right.
so people can remember not only your book but like your name and things like that. So vendor events has been the number one for me, and it's just been such a simple, like, all I have to do is sit out here and talk to you guys. Like, that's
Right.
amazing, and your audience or your clientele kind of already comes to you. And the cool thing about vendor events is because, like, if they aren't drawn to it, they're not going to come up to you. So it's
Right.
not like you're like, selling yourself. Is like, there's already kind of a mutual understanding. Like, if you're
Yeah.
interested, you're going to walk over here.
Right.
And I'm
Yeah.
going to smile regardless. So that's been number one for me. I've had some speaking opportunities. I've done a workshop here in January. So it's just been that TZ, videographer and photographer. Is that how you do that? Embarrassing. Cut that out. Literally talking about English major and all these things, poetry. Don't know the right words. But, yes, so just continuing to find
That was a good
diverse
idea, too.
opportunities, to put myself out there, not only for my book's sake, but for my brand's sake.
That's what's up.
You be doing a lot of stuff.
And like I said, I done heard, especially like on your album or whatever, like the perfect. Like I feel like she grasped the subject perfectly.
I'm gonna say it again. I said it off camera, but I'm so grateful, and it's my favorite song of the album. I know other people gonna have their own favorites, but it's mine because it's close to the heart. You know what I'm saying, with what I was talking about, and I got one of the best poets to come and man, look here, y'all.
But that's what I'm talking about, like that type of belief in you. You know, it's like you can't help but believe in yourself.
Right.
And to have that where home is just so important because I'm like, I literally feel unstoppable with these type of encounters and these moments. It's just like I have to continue to step into myself. I have to because I have too many people, cheering me along the way.
Right,
like I'm
right.
doing what I'm supposed to be doing, but I have to continue to believe that.
So did you always, probably not as, obviously not as much support as you have now, but have you always had that support group to kind of, besides like you were saying, whoever
Yeah.
when you were in high school kind of
Right,
helped
yeah.
you, pushed you through it or whatever, but.
I do. I have. I always had that support group. Especially, it's been the most important for my mom. I think you never realize how detrimental, parents' reactions can be
Right.
to, especially to exploring a hobby or a passion for the first time.
Yeah.
And my mom always sought to listen and like understand as opposed to respond when it came to my poetry
Okay.
because it was I like to call myself the female Edgar Allan Poe. I'm a dark poet. I love dark
Yes, you
poetry.
are.
I
Yes, you
love
are.
dark poetry.
Yes, she is.
And so for me to be reading some of those to my mom and she'd be like, okay, honey, and just it not be and
Right.
so there was no apprehension to that self-expression and that was huge. And then my sister, she's like, I can't remember how I worded it in my book and my acknowledgments, but she always is able to like put an idea, like under my thought to an idea kind of thing. Like if I can think it, she can make it like plausible. And I'm like, to be able to have that in my actual family unit and everything that I'm doing was huge. And then it just kind of like spilled over with friends and things like that. But having that as my starting point, I'm like, oh, okay, y'all like it? I don't really even like. I mean, I'm not for everybody, and that's okay. But that's kind of
Right.
what was instilled in me, that level of confidence of like, I have a lot to learn. Don't get me wrong,
Yeah.
but I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah,
Sure,
for
So.
sure. Yeah, that's what's up. That's what's up. What else? Did I already ask you if you was had anything coming up? Yeah, because you said you were writing another book.
Yes,
Okay.
I always have something coming up.
And that's
Yeah,
what's
she
up.
always working. Always.
And that's what's
Have
up,
to.
Damn, I had another question and I just forgot it all.
No worries.
I hate that shit. Don't drink, y'all. It's not good for you.
Talking about.
Go ahead and drink.
Damn. I lost
But
my
if you're
question
going to
because all
drink-
If you're gonna drink,
If you're
it
gonna
might as well be
drink,
naked.
might as
might as
well.
well because
Yeah.
it's the best of the best on the
Right, I
market.
love it.
Yeah.
Okay, back into it. You were kind of saying that to kind of you want to be able to be that person that people reach out to for help and all of that.
Yes.
Have you ever gotten into like public speaking or like what is it?
Yeah, like speaking engagements or.
Yeah, like God damn it, I can't think of what it's called. But yeah, public speaking.
Yeah, public speaking.
We're just gonna put it
Yeah,
that way.
public speaking.
All
You know,
that.
everything
Yes.
that comes with
Right,
umbrella
literally.
word.
And then, yes, to answer your question, I did a panel for well-read women of Omaha. There we go. And that was really my first time like actively speaking, and they pulled in African American authors, and so that was really cool to be a part of. And I've had other speaking opportunities since, and all of them have been so awesome and unique in their own way. It's so interesting because it's not like I've done multiple panels. It's like
Right,
one
right.
of each thing. Like I did my first virtual poetry reading, which was really different for me for a virtual audience.
Yeah, that was pretty dope too.
Yeah, for the Nebraska Writers Collective. And I'm like, it's just all these, and these are people I've just met, maybe once or twice.
Right.
And they'll be like, it's a lasting impression on both of our ends. And they'll
That's
reach out
what's
and be like, hey, I have something coming up. And so and I almost felt weird when knowing that I was going to move because I've been planning to move for the last year. But I felt weird because the opportunities were starting to pour in, especially before I was about to move. And I spoke at like the VA hospital and, just all these different opportunities. And I'm like, and I'm leaving it, like it
Right,
feels like
right.
it's starting to pick up. And so I kind of felt in a weird spot about that because I'm like, okay, well, this is exactly what I'm looking for. This level of engagement, this level of opportunities, this level of giving back.
for
But
sure.
I also have to follow where I feel drawn. And so
definitely.
now I'm like, whenever I come back, I'll make it a priority,
Right.
to do things like this, and to support in whatever way that I can.
Okay. Yeah, that's
good.
dope.
That's good. That's good.
Do you feel? I mean, I guess I don't know nothing about it, so it could be a dumbass question that I'm asking. But do you feel like poetry and writing a book are pretty much like hand in hand, or is it kind of like a rapper can freestyle, or a rapper can write but can't freestyle kind of thing? Like, is that kind of the
Yeah.
or
No, I think that's a great question because I've met so many poets who don't have a book. It happens more often than not, I think.
Right.
And I think there's a multitude of reasons, so I'm just going to probably touch on a couple. But it's really hard to kind of find a theme almost. Like with a book, there's a beginning, middle, end.
Right.
You know what to expect. Climax, character development. In poetry, you get snippets of a story. And it's like, so how do you tell that story? And then what you have written, does it tell the story? Or do you have to fill in the gaps? And so writing the poetry was really interesting to me. And my poetry book has 3 different sections, lost and found. Each of the words are a different section.
Okay.
And the section found was the hardest for me to write, because I'm like, how many ways can I say that I'm found? I don't know. It just felt really weird. I'm like, am I saying the same thing?
That's like when you in high school, you got to write a 500-page essay. So you.
Oh yeah, I just kept on saying the same
dragging-
shit, just
yeah,
different
and you're
ways.
dragging words out. You're gonna,
Dragging
instead
it
of
out.
saying
Exactly.
because, you're gonna say and then though, or
Right.
like
Yes, fluff. A whole
And then
bunch of
in the
fluff.
circumstance.
Right, literally, despite all odds. Like, all right,
Right.
you don't talk like that.
Nope, not at all. But that's how I'm gonna give it to you.
Because we got to reach
I
that
gotta
word
make it.
count.
Right.
Exactly. And that was the thing too, was like, I don't want to just be saying something to say that I'm saying it. I want it to be something that is going to be lasting. And what helped me was realizing that you can be found in a lot of different areas and you can be lost in a lot of different areas.
Yeah.
So that was really the breakthrough that I needed to realize that, like, because I'm like, after I said I'm found I said that real nice in that poem. Like, you want me to say it again and like 10 more, So that was really helpful to be like, okay, what other areas did I find myself in?
Right.
In terms of self-care, in terms of travel, I am more, than one, occasion or instance. So,
Okay. How do you go? Well, I guess you kind of said like the pull up and vibe helped you kind of
100%.
push yourself out there a little more. But other than that, like, how do you pretty much, like, music, you can put that on like YouTube and everything like that. Like, there ain't really much of a platform for poetry, is there really? Or
There is. Poetry slams are huge.
Okay.
Really, I didn't realize how big they were in like Baltimore and the East Coast until I left. And I'm like, of course. But it's like they have poetry slams, all around the world. But that's really huge to compete against other poets. And
Right.
YouTube, I can't even remember what it's called right now, but there is like a spoken word competition that happens every year, and me and my mom were like flipping through the TV a while ago and stumbled across it, and I saw it on TV, and I'm literally like, you want to talk about like a kid in the candy store, like my eyes are huge. I'm like, they're on TV, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I'm like, this is huge. What do you mean? Like, they're literally
is that
on
something
TV.
you would want to do one day?
Right. Talking about in Nevada, it's such a huge thing. Poetry slams are huge.
okay.
And so I'm like, I really am like starting to talk to myself and realize, like, is that something that I want to do?
Right.
And I think I love the idea of being able to express based off of memorization, because you're engaged in a whole different way than me reading and looking down at my book. And I only have ever memorized one poem. And I actually performed it at the Pull Up and Vibe.
I remember that. That was good. That was good.
Yes, but that's the only poem I've ever had memorized, and I loved it. I almost felt like I was stepping into the words in a different way than I ever had, and so I'm starting to teeter with that thought of possibly doing poetry slams and things like that. I mean, there's a lot that goes into it,
Right.
but yeah, I'm
for it,
really
man.
interested. I'm like,
Go
I
for
feel
it.
like I feel like I've heard. I don't know. If I feel like you gotta be in tune with that community to
that's
know
fair.
about
That
it.
is fair. Yeah.
Yeah, just
I
like you
feel
gotta
like-
be in tune with the rap community,
Yeah,
like
Right.
up and coming.
to know,
to
to know
yeah,
things.
right,
you know,
right.
It just that just is what it is with pretty much everything. You know, because I didn't know about. I mean, I kind of knew about poetry slams.
That's
but
what I'm saying. Like, I feel like I've
forgot.
heard about them. You know what I'm
I've
saying?
heard about them, but I don't think
It
I've
being a
ever
thing.
seen one personally.
Right.
Like
Yes,
personally,
right.
I might have seen one like on TV or something one time.
I don't even think I've
Yeah.
seen one on TV so much of like I've heard them being talked about per se, but I've never like heard or seen an advertisement for one.
Yeah, no.
Or like nothing like
It's like
algorithm.
Chinese food places.
Yeah, like
The
yeah,
algorithm.
exactly.
Chinese
there
food
ain't never
places
no
don't have
Chinese food
advertisements.
commercials. Like, you know what I'm
When's the
saying?
last time you
Like,
seen a Chinese advertisement?
well, they can't show the
That's what
cat running
Express
across the
doing.
street.
I'm not here. I'm not here.
Oh man, this dude ain't no good, man.
Ain't no good at all.
No,
but it's
yeah.
okay though.
They're out there for sure. I follow on YouTube a multitude of poets, and I'm like, to see their approach and how it differs per person. I'm like, this is. My heart. I will rewatch them. I'm probably half of their views on it. Honestly, I'll just be cooking, watching them, and things like that. I have probably like 30 saved of some of my favorites, and I'm just like, their presentation. Like, this is amazing, and it's so interesting because I think that when I read from my book, it almost lacks the emotion to a
Definitely.
certain extent. And I never would have thought about that until seeing it on YouTube. And
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, you got tears rolling down your eye. Like, you feel your
Yeah.
words. And it's just like, I feel like I've been missing that.
Right.
And I feel like I'm doing a disservice almost to my words. So now I'm curious.
That's what's up that you got that passion
Yeah.
for poetry. I don't have passion for much anything,
I
anymore.
try to. I really do try to, but I lose passion super fast.
Like I could be passionate about something, and then like a couple months later, I'll be like,
Or I'm not even gonna say I lose passion. I lose interest. Let me
That's
put
what it
that way.
is.
I'll still be passionate about it, but I don't have enough interest to continue.
I used to be passionate about videos. I'm not that passionate no more.
Right.
I think it's working with certain people
Yeah.
that'll make you start to, because I still love to record. I don't like people very much. I'm a people person, but I'm not at the same time.
You don't want to have to speak with the people. that
Yeah,
you're
like
recording
because
for.
sometimes people make me mad,
Yeah.
and I'll be like,
Well, she good with her words. She's just gonna be the talking of your company.
Exactly.
Every
I'm
time
like,
somebody wants to speak with you, just hand them the phone and be like,
Exactly.
talk to her.
yeah, talk to her.
She can
I'd
cuss
rather-
them out politely.
But that, I mean, honestly though, with the pinpointing your passion consultation that I offered, that's what it's all about, is realizing like there is a way to approach. I am all for why not have both, or like
Right.
how can we figure out the best of both worlds. So if someone comes to me with a problem like that, that's like, I am so passionate about this, but. And this is the problem, this is the problem piece. Let's figure out the solution to that. Maybe you need an assistant. Maybe you need, maybe you need someone that's the
Right.
face and you get to be like the brains or whatever it may
Yeah, I
be.
definitely need a face.
Yeah,
See,
but like,
that's how I want to
the
be with the
solution.
podcast. We'll be the face. I need somebody else with the brains. My brain is tired.
right. So,
Yeah,
we just did all that.
so once again, we still trying to look for somebody to edit.
There you go.
We still looking for somebody to do the intro, and we want an
Audio
outro
control.
too,
We need somebody to do audio
and
control.
audio.
Come on. y'all.
So
Yeah.
we got a lot of people that want to be on here to talk and stuff. But help, nigga, help.
Send help.
But yeah. Okay, well, we're going to go ahead and take a quick little breather real quick, get everything resituated, and we'll hop back on it.
Sounds good. Hello, everyone. This is A.A. Monet on the one and only Not So Sober podcast. I'm here to talk very quickly about my poetry book that I self-published back in 2021. It is titled Lost and Found. The key feature for my book is that you, as the reader, get to title the poems yourself. This book is all about self-love and the journey to self-reflection and healing, and it is here and it's for everyone, all ages. There's something in here for everybody. So you can check it out either on my social media, A.A. Monet, spelled M-O-N-E-T, poetry, or on my website, www.aamonetpoetry.com. I hope you guys check it out, and thanks.
Welcome back. Took a little break right there. We're going to get back into kind of what we was talking about a little bit about losing interest and having a passion for some, but just not being able to stick with it 100%. We was kind of talking a little bit in the break about that. I'm going to let you go ahead and take it. You said you wanted to do a couple things with that, so.
I'm interested because I think that that's so important to have that conversation because I think it happens more often than people talk about.
Yeah.
So I was just kind of interested in why you guys, thought that it happened, or if you see a pattern, or is it because like there isn't really like a dollar sign next to it, or is it there isn't time, or I mean, like is there any, reasoning that you kind of noticed?
Right. I feel like for me personally, I feel like a lot of it has my biggest thing with everything that I've never followed through with will probably be not only support per se, because that support would probably be the biggest one. It's just not having that support group to be able to help you and push you through everything. Like even with the podcast, my day ones don't even help support this. You know what I'm saying? So like,
Yep.
it's one of those things that you gotta. I've already told TZ multiple times. If I wasn't on here with him, we wouldn't be doing this no more, because the main people that I look forward to, the main people that I'm always there for, ain't even here just to help support this per se.
Yeah.
But I feel like the next biggest thing though is fear. I want to say that's probably one of the biggest besides support is just fear. Because I've had that myself a lot, and I still have it, of not necessarily fear of doing, but fear of failing. And that's the biggest thing of it all. Like, I've taken some classes for videography and photography and all of that. And I kind of got a little passion there, but not probably enough to do it completely. Like it be more of like a side time hobby kind of thing or whatever. And then back in high school, I started my own lawn care business and everything. Nice. Even out of high school, I bought all the equipment and everything. And again, just not having that support. And on top of that, at that time, I was just being young, dumb, and stupid, just wasting my life. Granted, I'm young enough. I ain't worried about it too much. I don't feel like I've wasted time in my life. But I feel like that's got a lot to do with it. Fear and support, I want to say, will probably be the top two reasons why people don't follow through with their passions.
Yeah, thank you for that. That's good to know. Do you have any?
Here goes A.A. Monet trying to look into people's souls again. But
my favorite.
Because we've talked about this before. I feel like the reasons why I lose interest, at least, I don't want to talk about everybody else, but the reason why I lose interest is because I'm a people person, but I'm not a people person at the same time.
Right.
Like, I'm cool with people, but I'm cool with people in spurts. And then once we get into certain conversations and stuff, especially when it starts dealing with like passion and the money, things go left almost every time. It's like, hey man, I really want to do this. Like, let's just say like back in the day when I was shooting videos, right? And I'll be like, all right, well, I'm gonna only charge you this much for your video because I want you to use the rest on this, and this, because I see this vision of where the video is supposed to go.
Right.
But if we do your vision, then I'm gonna want this money. But then once I get there, we're doing their vision, but they want me to still. They only want to pay me what my vision was gonna be.
Yeah.
So then we get into like, I don't even want to say like an argument, but like a debate, and it's like, no, well, if we're going to do that, because it's a weak concept, bro. It's not no concept. I want to get paid this because it's going to be harder to edit because I just got to do a bunch of effects and stuff to make your video look better.
And then not only that, like with your video aspect part of it is you have to, that's your work.
Yeah.
So you got to be able to price it off of what potential work you can get from it. So if you putting out horrible content because, or I don't even want to say horrible, but if you're not putting out top quality content because they don't want that top quality, now you got to pay more because I can't guarantee I'm gonna make any money off of you. And I hate to put it that way, but when you in that type of field or whatever, like, you want to be able to, again, music videos or whatever, you look at somebody's music video, you be like, hey, that's fire, let me hit them up, see who did that. You know, but if it's a weak video, ain't nobody gonna hit you up and be like, hey,
a video of you on the street or something, don't nobody care.
Right. Or
It's just
up
you and
against
the
a brick
homies,
wall
yeah.
in the alley, like, bro, that's
You know how many
boring.
videos I did like that?
Yeah.
Bro? And I hated it. That's why I stopped doing music videos for the most part. I do some music videos for a couple people here and there, but that's because they come with they come with a good idea.
Right.
So I'm like, all right, cool, because I know you come with a good idea. It's visually pleasing, and I like that. Let's do it, you know. But most of the time, when people be like, because I still got people still to this day, every once in a while that'll hit me up and be like, hey, I was trying to see, you know, if you'll shoot a video for me. Look, man, I give people other people's names and shit. Like, this is who you should hit up.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because they going to do a video for you and they going to make it look nice and they going to take their time to do all of those effects and all of that type of stuff. And I don't want to do that. I just don't.
Hey, and that's
That part.
fine. That, you know, the best part about it, when you work for yourself, you have that option.
Yeah.
For sure.
That's the best part to me, anyways. Is
Yeah.
having the option to be able to tell a motherfucker no.
Yeah. I think that that's so interesting, and it is really helpful to hear from different like industries and fields because I can only know mine. But I know for myself, in the handful of the clients that I've had, I've liked seeing each of them as an opportunity to improve my processes and or my contract. And so I think that, like, no matter, I am a planner. I will plan you down with documentation, and like I know exactly how things could go.
Right.
And every time there's going to be an exception. And every time that exception has happened, I've written it into my contract. And so that's been my safeguard of like, if it's just me and if I could make my money just by doing me, I would get it done and I would be able to make that money. And
Yeah,
there
for
is an
sure.
aspect to that.
Right.
But when it comes to, you know, interacting with other people, having clients, I have found that updating my contract and my materials and my invoices and my prices, all of that often has helped me like understand my worth. And then also I will attract what my worth is for me specifically. Obviously that's all I'm speaking on. But that was really helpful for me. And then the other thing with like the support and the fear, I can't even imagine not having it. And I think how I have found how to like safeguard that is all of my sub passions fall under the umbrella of my, which the saying for my brand is creating space for emotions to freely and safely exist. That's the umbrella. So every initiative that I have, every service, every product, anything that I'm a part of falls underneath that. Okay. And I think that what helps me is that people support that umbrella. So if I do a sub, you know, an initiative underneath it, they can pick and choose what to support. But in like the grand scheme of it, they're supporting it holistically,
Right.
if that
Right.
makes any sense.
Yeah.
So I've never really thought about like if I were to do lawn care and then poetry and, you know, like, because my passions, they all fall within the
Right.
same bucket. But even if they don't, I make them. And I think that that has been really helpful.
Yeah, see, I'm always, I don't know, I dibble and dabble into everything. Like, I just feel like,
Well-rounded.
you know, I'm young enough, I'm only 22, so I'm young enough to be able to put my hands into everybody's pot and kind of
Yeah.
choose which one I want to pick from, and that's kind of what I've done. So I guess, you know, some of that has to do with it. Another big problem of mine is I get bored. Like, if things aren't moving how I want them to move, I get bored quick.
That's real.
Yeah.
Like, I want things to happen overnight, and nothing
Yeah.
ever happens overnight. So, like, to
Nothing's
have to
overnight
work
thing.
through the bottom process is so boring. I want somebody to start it and then let me finish it. Like,
Come get me when it's taken off.
yeah, you know,
Yeah.
like, do the dirty work, and I'll just do the rest. It's horrible to think that way, but
Yeah. I almost feel like that is the difference between a passion and an interest, though, because something that interests you isn't necessarily something that you're passionate about.
Right.
And I think we've been using it interchangeably, but I can be interested in fish. I can be
Right.
interested in, but it's not enough to wake me up. It's not enough to help me get through
Right.
the downtime, the hard work. Like, if I'm passionate about it, it's like, regardless. Like, I'm going to do it regardless of the client number or, the how much I'm making each year. Like, I do it regardless because I know for a fact that this is what I'm passionate about, which means that that's probably what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
But if I'm interested in it, then it's like, I can try crocheting. I mean, like, it's a cute little thing, but I'm not passionate about it, and I probably won't end up making a scarf. But I'm interested, So
I think I need to start doing my own projects as well. I think that'll help a lot because I'm making everybody else stuff come to fruition, which is dope. I like it. Don't get me wrong. Like, I'm not mad that I'm making other people's stuff come, but I need to start doing stuff. That's another reason why we started this podcast. This is one thing I do twice a week about where it's like, this is for me, pretty much. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is something that I want to do. Like, me and Caleb always talking to each other, trying to come up with new ways to try to improve. We come every Wednesday, every Friday. Wednesdays is usually our days where we just kind of like tell people, hey, this is what the podcast is doing. This is where we're going. This is for mainly updates and stuff. And then Fridays is our interviews with people. And we want to get it soon where we're going to make other things happen. I ain't going to say it all the way. Y'all going to just have to just keep watching. But, you know what I'm saying? We're trying to get better. We're trying to... And then this is like one of the things for me. So like, that's why I'm not too mad when it's like, oh yeah, got to do the podcast. Oh yeah, I gotta edit the podcast. Like, but sometimes when I do other people's stuff, no disrespect to the other people, but sometimes I'm like, I gotta do that. Yeah. All right, let me hurry up and get it done because I want to, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna make sure it's done right. Yeah. But I want to hurry up and get it done because I want it off my plate. I just don't want to do it no more.
Well, and see, I feel like that's another big thing that a lot of people have the problem with, and I have it too, is we look at what we have to do for somebody. Like everything that I've tried, every business plan I came up with, I've came up with it with the aspect and the thought in mind of providing for somebody else instead of how I'm gonna provide for myself. Like, what can this do for me? Yeah. I never really bring it to that step of me. Like, I mean, like, I hate to even say it with the podcast. Like, I don't think about myself with this podcast. Sadly, I really should, but I don't. Like, only thing I ever think about is how we gonna bring more awareness to the guests that we have. How can we do this? Like, how can we bring more guests in? Like, I never really sit back and think on like how this could benefit us per se.
You should.
So, but again, like, I need to, but I can't. I don't know how.
It's hard.
I really don't know how to put myself first.
Yeah.
Because we so used to doing everything for other people,
right?
That we tend to forget about ourselves. Exactly. I do that a lot.
I mean, I feel like that's where boredom comes into place, though, because you're almost burning yourself out to a certain extent because you're outwardly. Yep. So you do get bored because it's like, what happens when, the guests don't come or whatever. And then you have to remember the difference between having yourself in mind is you remember why you're doing it. Right. And when you don't have yourself in mind, then it just seems more boring and more of a, time consuming and you can focus on the negatives way easier.
Because, I mean, like, we've already had a couple guests that couldn't show up and it's like, okay, we just won't do an episode. But we should have still did an episode just without the guests. Like, that's where, I mean, like, if things don't go exactly how I want them to go, like, then I'm like, well, just fuck it and we'll try again. So, but with that kind of, though, like, what helped you get over any of these fears? I know you said your mom was there for your support, but what were your biggest problems getting into this with those same fears, or not even those same fears, but your own fears?
Right. Mine were hugely imposter syndrome in terms of, do I actually have something to say? And my book, when people read even a poem from my book, and the key thing about my book is that you get to title the poems yourself, as the reader. And I felt like they were so specific to what I experienced with like the heartbreak that it wouldn't be able to resonate
Right.
with other people. And so I'm like, what's the difference between what I'm doing and like journaling? And so that was the imposter syndrome. Like, am I just doing this as a release for myself? And why is that not enough?
Right.
If I am doing this as a release because it's working, why am I trying to do this extra step and be like, hey, look at me? You know, because I'm going through it. I'm going through, this is a form of therapy for me.
Yeah.
And so I just had to go through all of these mind, like, thoughts of of what and who I was doing it for. And I found that, and I hated the cliche of like, even if one person loves it or something like that, and I never thought of myself as an artist until I started working on my audiobook. It was just a disconnect. I felt like I was just a person who wrote and put it out there. Like, I never really I would call myself a poet for sure, but even I struggle with that because I'm not reciting it from memory. I'm reading, so all of these things. So I'm like, I can always think of an exception to the title that I'm trying to give myself, because I feel like I haven't done the work. I don't have the years underneath my belt to actually even be able to say that. Like, I don't know. I feel like some artists, day one, they're like, I'm an artist. But some artists is like, year 20. I feel like they say, so I'm just like, where do I fall in the mix of that? So my fear was, incorrectly labeling myself and almost being too confident. But I had to be confident in order to step into myself. So it was it was just like a roller coaster of like, okay, but this butt, okay, but,
Right.
so I just had to fix and like decide which one was going to be true for me and then continue to walk in it. Cause I could easily go back to being like, girl, what? So,
Oh God.
yeah.
But okay, we done kind of got a lot of questions out the way. I feel like we all done had a little bit to drink, and now I'm passing the mic to Teezy, and Teezy know what to do with it.
Interesting.
So, you are a poet. You are an artist. So what we do around this time
Teasy.
is usually we want a little freestyle.
Oh my gosh.
Right?
I had a feeling.
So you are a poet, so we want to freestyle poetry from you.
Freestyle is crazy.
Yeah. Just a freestyle poetry just from the heart. And I pick a topic for you.
Maybe I'll finish my drink.
Yeah, go ahead. Go right ahead. Go right ahead. Girl.
I had a weird feeling. I'm like, no.
Go right ahead, girl. So
I literally hate this. Okay, I love it, but I hate it.
So, we've been talking about passion. And I know that's probably harder for you. Because I know you do a lot of lost.
This is crazy.
So,
Y'all can cut this out. Y'all can cut this part out. I don't know what I'm gonna say.
And that's the best part, because the reason we do this is because we're promoting you to the community. But what are we promoting? We need to know what we promoting.
Yeah,
We want to see how you work. So that's what we here to
And we get
find
to see
out.
how your brain work a little bit. You know what I'm saying? So, like, 4 lines. It don't have to be a long thing. Just 4 lines about passion. You don't have to use the word passion, but it has to be about passion at least. Something that you're passionate about at least, or something. And just four little lines.
She keep giving me this death.
Oh yeah, cause she
Walking out of
like,
here tonight.
no.
Who is this thing
She gonna kill
on?
us after we stop
God. Walking out of
it.
here
She gonna wait for us to press the stop button.
I thought my smile. So, okay.
I just want something just real quick.
I'm going to give a little bit of a story before I do
Okay,
this,
go
if
ahead,
that's
go
okay.
ahead.
So in Nevada, I've been going on walks a lot recently before noon, because after noon it is hell temperature.
For sure.
I'm like,
Nevada, I believe
it's
it.
not fun. But I have tried to start challenging myself to freestyle poems while I'm walking, and it's been painful because I'm trying to be rhymey. Like,
You don't have to be rhyming.
I get it. I know.
don't
It
have to
just
be
doesn't
rhyming.
come out how I
Right.
want to. And I think that it's been so interesting to see the disconnect between like opening my mouth and the flow like to my fingers. And I really want to get better at doing it, but I want you all to know that I am quite literally in phase 1 of freestyle. So
okay.
I
That's all right. As a poet, I don't.
I'm trying to edit while I'm. This is Go ahead. I'm listening.
I don't expect for you to just have the perfect 4 lines. Most rappers don't have the perfect 4 lines. You know, most singers don't have the perfect 4 lines when we make them, freestyle. So it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be totally on point. Don't give me that look. Don't give me that look. But we just need a little something you can. I am A Monet.
You love that.
I am passionate. Yeah, because, I got to act like you, so I got to start it off with I am A Monet.
That is hilarious.
I am passionate about water.
I think you're doing it for me. This is it.
I do a good AA Monet.
You do. That's what I'm like. You got
I feel
it.
like you do a good everybody.
Kind of.
Like
kind of.
You do a good
kind
everybody.
of. Because when we was in the studio, and what song was that at the end? I had to talk a little bit. I can't remember what song where I had to talk a little bit at the end, but he was like, Lafonso was like, "Hey, I need you to, like give it a little slower and like put a little bit of oomph a little bit on it." All I did was act like her. I swear to God. And I told him
I remember that.
Yeah, I told him that. I didn't know she was there. She came in when I went in there.
This is true.
And I was like, "Hey,"
This is true.
I was
I
like,
did not
"Look
know.
here. I'm gonna have to thank AA Monet for this because I literally just mimicked her cadence." And he was like, "Oh, okay, yeah, we'll tell her." Then I came out and I was like, "God damn, you right here!" Like, well, now you know. Thank you.
That was cool. You really did not know I was in there.
I didn't know you was there at all. So yeah, I'm about to.
All right. I don't know if it's 4 lines.
4 lines, just 4 little
as
lines.
much as you can do. I'm not even gonna force you to do 4 lines because it's poetry.
Oh, he being nice.
Yeah,
he being nice.
The death stare works.
Yeah, the death stare worked a little bit. The death stare worked a little
give
bit.
her 3. I don't know. I don't know 2.
Death stare worked a little bit.
I'm like, okay. I'm gonna take a deep breath and then start eventually. Okay.
Whenever you ready, the mic is yours.
I want you to step inside. Start with closing your eyes. Let the emotions fill you. There is no greater feeling than the rise. I've always wanted you to come inside. This is home.
Hey, I like that come inside part.
Hey, it took everything out of me the whole my life.
You like
I was like, I instantly was like, oh.
You said passion, and that's where my brain went, unfortunately. So
Whoa.
Hey,
here we are. Blame
I
yourself.
get passionate at that time too.
See?
I do too. Hey.
And then I wink my butthole. Anyway,
See? Had to slide it in. There it is.
Only winks.
only winks.
Merch dropping soon.
Watch out.
No, that was good.
That was good. That was really nice. That actually was really
your
nice.
Voice.
She got a
telling
great
you, your
voice,
voice.
bro. She thinks she don't. We was talking during the break. She thinks she don't got a good voice, and me and Caleb was like, she. You got a great voice. You got a great poetry voice. Like
Yes.
you got a great voice. Period. But especially for poetry, like. That's why I wanted you to be on my shit, which is the hardest shit that's dropping in Omaha. Go check it. When it comes out, I'm going to let y'all know. Check it out. Y'all going to love it. But, yeah.
Thank you.
It was
Guys.
yeah.
This was cool. I needed it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank
I'm
you
glad.
for-
I am glad that you came.
Yeah, thank you for coming on here because we, you got some very, very good talent that need to be put out here. Obviously, you got your support group. You got your crowd now, but you can never have too many. That's gonna sound bad. But yeah, we definitely want to thank you for coming on here, giving us the opportunity to bring you to the community.
Of course.
And hopefully everything will just keep rising from here. You know, don't ever give up. Keep going. You don't move down to over to Nevada. Yeah.
Yeah, over.
Yeah.
Right, over. Yeah.
To the left.
It's over.
To the left.
Yeah.
Technically. Yes.
Yeah.
To the west.
Yeah.
To the
Right.
west. To the west.
Yes.
So hopefully everything will keep going great down there or over there for you. I don't know why I keep saying down there.
Because we used to
Feels
saying
right.
that.
Yeah.
We just used to saying
But yeah, hopefully everything just keep on going great for you. We definitely gonna have you come back on, or when that second book ready.
Yes.
No, for
Definitely
sure.
gonna have you come back on.
I'm gonna have to
talk
get
about
one of
that.
those too.
Yes.
And talk about the process of getting that book out, because every book's got its different process on how you handle it and where
Yeah.
you got the mindset from.
I'ma need
we
an early
definitely gonna have to
release.
bring you back.
Gotcha.
Early release.
I'm gonna pay for it, but I'm gonna need an early release.
got
I'm gonna need like I want mine on paperback, like where it's handwritten type.
Right.
Shit.
Typewriter. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
yeah.
get it to you. I don't
Yeah,
mind.
yeah,
You
yeah.
got a typewriter?
No.
Oh, I was about to say.
That would be
Oh
dope.
no,
though.
Hey,
there is a
God.
poet here that does do poems typewriting.
That's pretty
That's
dope.
amazing.
That's old school for real.
Yeah, at the farmer's market you can catch her.
Okay.
Yeah,
I think I know who you're talking about too. I think I bought one.
yeah, she's
Oh,
amazing.
when I go to farmer's market, I look for food.
Me too. But like when I see
Get
talent
both,
though,
get both.
when I see
Yeah.
talent,
Yeah, she's
I try to.
I
Because
need
there
to
was
get
an
better
artist
at
that
it.
was
I just
down
be
there.
thinking about my stomach.
There's a painter and there's a dude that plays the saxophone.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
I know
be
about
down
the-
there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've
I don't,
threw a
you
little
talking
bit
about the
to
one
both of them.
downtown?
Yeah, downtown.
Yeah, I don't go to that one very much. The only reason I know about what's be down there from when I was working at Spaghetti Works. Down there, but
that's fair.
yeah. But no, for real. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you guys.
For sure.
Hopefully we can get this out here to the public and get you some
Oh, yeah.
more notice and
Hey.
everything.
The best motherfucking poet out, period.
Period poo.
Period, poo. I'm telling you, bro. Hey, I love her work. I personally. And this ain't just because I know her. I might be a little bit biased, a little bit, but I've actually read it. Dope as fuck. It's dope poetry. And yes, I do know her. I do know her personally. So once again, maybe a little bit biased, but at the same time, not all the way though, because she actually does great work. She does great work. Got her on a song. That'll be coming soon. Don't worry about it. It'll be coming at the end of the year, beginning of next year. Dope song. My favorite song so far, at least. We'll see. We'll see how things go later on. But right now, it's my favorite. It's my favorite. And I got a few songs done now. So, like, yeah, she be killing shit. She doing shit.
Yeah. But all right, y'all. I want to thank y'all for tapping in to this episode of Not So Sober Podcast. Again, we got AA Monet, born and raised here in Omaha, Nebraska. Poet, dope fire poet, came in, just had to sit down with us, man. Make sure y'all tap in.
Yeah.
Remember to drop a like,
Like,
comment,
share,
hit the notification.
notification.
All that.
Hey, and why haven't you done it yet?
Yeah,
What the fuck is you doing?
Because they not so sober. It's okay. I'm going to give them a pass.
You know,
But it's okay,
you
though.
being
Drink
nice today.
responsibly, 'cause we don't.
Because we don't, motherfucker.